times, and a guy who we've talked about the fact that he is just one step away, Junior Jones.
Junior Jones is a 20-year-old, and can you believe he's still only 20, who is undefeated, the 13 KOs, and yes, he could be just a fight or two away from a world championship match. And we've seen in him, Barry, an improvement in skills every time he goes out, and an improvement in his opponents, which is the case tonight.
Yeah, everybody's talking about the fact that this guy is championship material, but he's got a pretty big step to get over tonight, because this is an experienced guy, and moreover, he's a left-hander.
And moreover, he's a former champion. In 1988, Rolando Bajal, who's only 25, was the IBF Bantamweight champion of the world, ended up losing that title to Duke McKenzie in a hard-fought match in which he lost in the 11th round. He's a guy who could give him some problems, and yes, you mentioned it, for only the third time in his career, Jones will be facing a southpaw.
Well, we said this should be an entertaining card, and one of the reasons it's going to be entertaining is not only the main event, but another fight that is a rematch, and the first fight ended in a draw between these two.
Yeah, Sean Fitzgerald will be taking on Peter Manfredo. Fitzgerald, who is undefeated 10-0-1, the only blemish is that draw. That was only in his second pro fight. He has improved, he thinks, a lot, and Manfredo is a kickboxing champion who alternates between the two sports. Never easy.
Yeah, and these are both guys from this area who have brought along a pretty good crowd just to go along with it. So Sean Fitzgerald has sold a lot of tickets. Manfredo is a guy who feels, hey, I had a draw the last time. This time, I should be able to do even better than that. You take a look at Sean Fitzgerald as he makes his way into the ring, and you listen to the crowd, and believe me, a lot of this crowd here at the Centrum is very much in Sean Fitzgerald's corner. So right now, let's get the official introductions as we go to the ring announcer, Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Centrum here in Worcester, Massachusetts, where tonight, Top Rank Incorporated and the undisputed, undefeated King of Beer, Budweiser, present professional boxing for your entertainment. These bouts are all sanctioned by the Massachusetts State Boxing Commission. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get things started with an 8-round bout. This is in the middleweight division. The referee for this contest is Eddie Fitzpatrick. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks, and weighing in at an even 159 pounds, he's from Providence, Rhode Island. His professional record, 6 victories, only 1 defeat, 1 draw, 2 KO victories. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Manfredo. And his opponent across the ring in the blue corner, wearing the green trunks with white letters, weighing 156½ pounds, from right here in Worcester, Massachusetts. Undefeated as a professional, he's 10-0-1, 6 by KO. He's the Irish Express, Sean Fitzgerald.
Both got the instructions earlier. I want a good, clean fight. Listen to my instructions all the time. Understand? Protect yourself.
Let's take a look at the rules here in the state of Massachusetts, Al.
And we take a look and see that the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. The standing 8 count also. The doctor can stop the fight. 10-point scoring. 2 judges and the referee will score different than usual. And the fighter can be saved by the bell only in the last round.
So that is the story of this one. And you can hear the crowd is already really into this fight. Manfredo and Fitzgerald, round 1, were set to go. Fitzgerald in the green trunks, Manfredo in the black trunks. They fought to a draw, but when you talk to Sean Fitzgerald, he said, hey, that was in my second fight. And Manfredo gets there with a pretty good right hand to start things.
Well, he is going after him immediately. And we mentioned Manfredo is a kickboxer, a world champion kickboxer at that, in the welterweight division. And everything Sean Fitzgerald does in this match, needless to say, will be cheered lustily by this crowd.
But the fact is, Manfredo seems to have a few friends in his house also.
Well, he does. He's had some folks who are down here for him. He lives nearby.
We talked to Manfredo about how difficult it is to make that switch from kickboxing to regular boxing, and he said, no, it's not much of a problem at all. Which is interesting. I would think it would be a problem.
Yeah, well, his point is what he does is he tried to concentrate on each during the period he's doing it. He goes back and forth, but he doesn't do kickboxing while he's doing boxing. But yeah, I would think it would be difficult.
He said he's actually been preparing for this fight for about 6 months.
Well, you know, they have different goals. He's 34 years old, and Fitzgerald is 21. he knows that his future in boxing is now. And Manfredo says, I know I'm probably not going to get the world championship. I want to win this, win some other matches, and see if that's a slip or a knockdown.
I believe it was a slip.
Yeah. But Manfredo said, I'd just like to get the New England title, and that'd be about it. So for him, this fight is one of maybe only 2/3 of the rest of his career, if you will.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty realistic approach that he had, actually. Style is not a high point of this fight so far,
no,
but it is entertaining. Big looping right hand, left hand by Manfredo. Fitzgerald just said, I'm a better fighter now than I was then. He said I was very green.
He was down in their last fight also, by the way. In the 3rd round, he was sent down by Manfredo, so you have to be aware of that.
Manfredo's had some success with that left hand. Fitzgerald wants no part of it.
Fitzgerald trying to land the jab and the straight right, and that's been pretty much all he's tried to land in this round.
Well, an action first round between these two. Sean Fitzgerald at 10-0 with the 1 draw, and that draw was to his opponent tonight, Peter Manfredo. We start the 2nd round as you look at Sean Fitzgerald. First round, an action round. Fitzgerald and Peter Manfredo. The numbers in the first round. Fitzgerald not too effective.
Oh, very bad percentage landed. Short with the jabs like that. You know, I erroneously mentioned that Fitzgerald was down in their last round, but I really meant to say it was Manfredo had been down in their last round.
I knew you meant that.
Yeah. So. And you knew I'd correct it, didn't you? Neither man has a jab that is really strong. They both push their jabs a lot. Fitzgerald might be a little bit better.
I'm going to take a minute to pass along get well wishes to a real fan of Top Rank Boxing, Ralph Clem, who is recuperating from some recent surgery at St. Vincent's Hospital in Indianapolis. Truth of the matter is he doesn't much care about you or me or Top Rank Boxing, but his son Gary just happens to be the director.
And does a fine job, we might add.
So our best to Ralph. And Gary was right and Ralph was right. We could have got him tickets to this. And where are you, Ralph?
They do have a nice crowd here in the smaller room here in the center. We were here in 1983 and saw Murray Sutherland and Robbie Sims fight to a draw in what was probably our fight of the year in that year. It's one of those ones that recurs in all those year-end wrap-ups we do. We always end up showing a little portion of that bout. The percentages of punches landed, there was good counter shots by Fitzgerald. The percentage landed is going to be really poor in this round as it was in round one.
Yeah, not going to be a lot of style points given here, but it's exciting. I thought Manfredo was a very refreshing guy. He just said, hey, I just like to box. You know, I'm 34 years old. I'm in good shape. I know I'm not going to be a world champion. Maybe I could be New England champion. He said, but I just like to box.
He really does. Yeah, both he and Sean refreshing to talk to this morning. He's got a kickboxing show, Manfredo, set for November 23rd. So he's going to get back in that mode when he finishes here.
Come to the end of the second round, and once again, perhaps not a symphony, but music you can dance to. We'll be back. We start the third round. Fitzgerald in green trunks and Manfredo in the black trunks. Second round, pretty tough round to judge.
You know, this is going to be a very hard fight to judge, period, because neither man is landing many. And there is an example in the second round. I made the round even, and you can see how close it is. Manfredo by one punch. Anytime it's a 1 or 2 punch difference. purely a matter of opinion.
You really could see how this fight was a draw the last time.
Oh, easily. Fitzgerald is short with almost all his jabs.
And on your card, Manfredo having won the first round with the second one even.
Got him edging ahead by 1 point.
Atmosphere of this fight, though, is like this one is the main event. And that, of course, is because Fitzgerald is a local product. Says personally he accounted for about $2,800 in gate sales.
Not too bad. And there's the right hand following the jab, and they cheer even though nothing really landed too well. But when Sean Fitzgerald does that, he's effective. You can see he likes to box and wants to use the jab as his primary weapon. But when he comes with that right hand behind it, he makes himself a lot better.
Fight, remember, scheduled for 8 rounds. Left hand backing up by Fitzgerald.
Manfredo coming in wide open, really, and Fitzgerald should be countering him better. See as Peter is coming in with his head just forward, hands wide.
Fitzgerald looking to counter.
A couple jabs got in. Nothing behind it. I don't know if Sean Fitzgerald has a left hook. We haven't seen a punch at all from him yet. Manfredo having a tough time cutting the ring off. Sean is giving him pretty good movement. This is a fairly big ring.
End of the third round, and this fight really falling into a pattern now, and it's a very difficult fight to judge once again. Corner of Peter Manfredo, and a reminder that Sunday night the NFL gets underway here on ESPN. What a game to start our NFL run.
Can't be better.
Redskins and the Giants. Special time, incidentally. We get underway at 7:30 Eastern time. Redskins undefeated, looking for all the world like the most powerful team in the NFL. But remember, they have not beaten the Giants in 5 long years.
Isn't that amazing? And they play twice a year in that division. That's astonishing.
Meanwhile, we start the 4th round here, scheduled for 8.
Well, Manfredo just chasing after Fitzgerald and not really able to catch him too well.
Watch your heads, watch your heads.
Through the first 3 rounds, a little to choose, and little may be the operative word.
Yeah, when you're landing 28 and 26%, that is obviously not a good percentage. Anything over 40, you're starting to be pretty good, and 50 is excellent. But 28 and 26%, not too good.
Especially when you stop to think that Manfredo is not the most difficult guy in the world to hit.
No, in truth, Sean Fitzgerald, who's a 21-year-old with aspirations, should be nailing him with a lot more punches. It's a very one-dimensional attack from Sean. Jab, right hand, and that's pretty much it. I've been doing my Worcester research. Ooh. And do you know some of the famous people that came from Worcester? I'll tell you one. Abby Hoffman is from Worcester.
Is that true?
Isn't that something?
You know, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, there you are. I'm here to provide these little gems.
That's excellent. And I'll bet you have more as this show goes on.
I do. Yes, and later on I'll be sharing more of them with you.
So might you want to get a notepad?
That's right, because it's important information.
Wound up with that one. This may be the first fighter I ever have a balk called on him.
We've even seen that in the World Series this year, haven't we?
Right.
Is that on this week?
I didn't realize it was.
Yeah, it might be. And anybody that's watching this right now doesn't even know what a balk is, do they?
Yeah, that's exactly
Just realize
right.
that. It's kind of a lost reference.
I didn't mean to make a baseball analogy.
No, I mean, somebody who's watching this never even heard of a balk, doesn't even know what it is. Manfredo is just having all kinds of trouble cornering Sean Fitzgerald. And it's bad news for him and for us, too, because until he does, this is going to be boring.
Yeah, and Fitzgerald just not able to do much under any circumstances, even with that.
Fitzgerald has good foot movement. There's no question about that. And Manfredo unable to cut the ring off. So he just rushes in and does his best.
End of the fourth round, and once again, this fight very much in a pattern. We'll be back. We start the fifth round of a scheduled 8-round fight. And the story of the fight is Manfredo chasing Fitzgerald, unable to catch up with him, and Fitzgerald, at least to our eyes, doing enough.
Well, he's landed some counter punches, and his jab has been more effective, even though he's missed a lot. And speaking of jabs, there are the well, not much more effective, but he is landing more. 17% is not exactly terrific. But then Manfredo hasn't been good with the jab either. Crowd revving it up for Sean Fitzgerald, but there was a left hook, not a good one, but a left hook, and it did knock Manfredo off balance.
Doesn't seem like it would be too hard to knock Manfredo off balance, to tell you the truth.
He's a brawler, no question about that, and not a brawler that has, you know, a lot of leverage and power on his punches. Manfredo, only 2 KOs and his 6 wins anyway.
Yeah, he's a little off balance, I think. You mentioned it. He sort of comes headlong. There was a right hand by Manfredo that did get there. That one did not get there. It was caught in the gloves of Fitzgerald. Case of Fitzgerald's not doing quite as much and Manfredo doing a little bit more in this round.
Yeah, ironically, even though Manfredo is landing so little, he's doing most of the punching. Sean Fitzgerald's been very inactive here. Moving a lot, but not throwing much at all.
Right hand by Manfredo.
Manfredo trying to make Fitzgerald come to him. Really not a bad idea at this point. Thinking maybe he can land a counter shot. I think that's a good ploy, except Fitzgerald doesn't buy it, and Manfredo comes right back to the attack. Peter might have to have a little more patience with that ploy if he tries it next time. It's a round, though, in which Manfredo might have done the better work.
Moves to your left. Okay? Look, you're not throwing enough punches, all right? You're not picking up. Yeah, that was a very, very dull round. You gotta pick it up, all right? I said something off the jab. You don't jab just for the hell of it. You gotta throw something behind the damn jab, all right? Okay? Come on, you gotta pick it up. You gotta pick it up. You gotta stick him out. Yeah? Your body. Good. You gotta pick it up, okay? Fine. So you gotta throw more punches, okay? Not throwing enough punches. Not throwing enough punches, okay?
But a reminder that more football coming your way next Thursday night as we get out of the way for Brigham Young and Colorado State. That's a week. Meanwhile, we are watching Peter Manfredo in the black trunks, Sean Fitzgerald in the green trunks. Take a look at the numbers in the last round, and boy, that's not a very pretty picture, is it?
Well, it bears out what we said. Manfredo doing more, not too great, but Fitzgerald doing so little, throwing 11 fewer punches and obviously landing fewer.
The right hand lead, the left hand behind it by Fitzgerald.
There's that short little left hook from Fitzgerald. It's not a very powerful punch the way he throws it. He gets no leverage on it. He's throwing it as he's backing up. But if he would throw that left hook with a little more conviction, he could land it against Manfredo. But then Sean should throw all his punches with a little more conviction than he is. There's that little hook that I talked about. He can land it when Manfredo comes in.
Yeah, but
right there.
He throws it off his heels.
Yeah, and you can see it's there if he would just plant himself once and throw, but he's so busy getting out of the way that he can't throw that punch. But he sees it now. You see, tried it again. He sees that it's open.
That was a lot of frenetic action and no punches landed as far as I can see.
This could be the postscript for this bout. Much ado over nothing.
Yes.
Both these men are trying. They're really engaging young men. They really are. But unfortunately, they have not made for a scintillating match.
Yeah, I'm not sure that this is what the Marcus of Queensberry had in mind. A lunging right hand by Manfredo. Still to come, of course, the main event. Junior Jones, Rolando Bohol.
And I can judge by the amount of talk I get around the country about different boxers. A lot of people have stopped and asked me about Junior Jones, so I know there is great interest.
Should be a good fight for him tonight, too. As you said, a former champion. Meanwhile, end of round 6 in this one. The crowd is on its feet as we start round 7.
Why?
Don't ask me.
These guys are about 5 inches away from making for a fun bout, which it started to be at the beginning. But it hasn't been since. Fitzgerald did discover in that last round that he could land the left hook when Manfredo's coming in. He tried a couple of times, but again, didn't throw those punches with a lot of leverage and didn't plant himself.
Another right hand that Manfredo wound up with and went down.
I'll tell you one thing. Peter Manfredo's trying to make this bout. Granted, his style was not what you would hope for, but he's the one that's trying to make the bout, and whenever he does, Sean Fitzgerald mostly is retreating.
You can see Fitzgerald consciously want to keep this fight in the middle of the ring. There was a right hand.
Sean is just not throwing many punches. Not that Manfredo is a whirlwind of activity, but it seems like he is suppressing matters a little bit more.
Left hand again, but again, he is throwing it backing up.
Fitzgerald holding on a lot. He talks to the referee about Manfredo using his head, but Fitzgerald holding on the inside.
Missed with that. Used up a lot of energy throwing punches that hard and missing.
Kind of mad at himself. I'll tell you what though, Manfredo, jab pushes him back. Gets that wet spot in the ring. Manfredo is getting closer to landing that right hand.
Yeah, you can see Fitzgerald look down. Actually, what I think it is that area of the ring is painted with, as you can see, a commercial endorsement there. And I think when it does get some perspiration on it, it really does get slick.
We've seen that before in the painted parts of rings. Tell you what, Sean Fitzgerald not doing much to make this bout. Manfredo doing everything in the offensive end to try and make this an interesting bout, and has landed in this round a little bit more. And I'll tell you what, I think he's going to take this round.
Well, again, I harken back to the last fight, which was a draw, and this one, you could easily make it. I'm sure there'll be some diverse scoring in this fight. A little short with that right hand. Headed for the end of the 7th round. There'll be 3 minutes left in this fight, and again, ostensibly a fight that still can be had by either man. Round, the crowd bursting into applause. And I don't know if that's an applause of thanks or an applause of appreciation. Left hand, and that might have hurt Fitzgerald.
Well, Manfredo has been getting there better with his punches in the last couple of rounds. Not that many of them, but
we're watching Peter Manfredo and Sean Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald in the green trunks, Manfredo in the black. This is the 8th round of a scheduled 8-rounder. These two have fought once before. They fought to a draw, and you won't find too many people in this crowd who might not think that that would be the same thing now. And if you understood what I just said, you're better off than I am.
It's okay. It keeps our viewers on their toes if they have to figure it out occasionally.
I just threw out a bunch of words, and you can arrange them in whatever order you'd like, because I didn't do a very good job of it.
Manfredo you're trying so hard to get there with the right hand, but Fitzgerald is moving to his left effectively, and Peter just does not have the skills necessary to cut him off. But there he did, you see, he got his left hook out there and then was going to come with the right hand. So,
and again, Fitzgerald is grabbing, and he was warned just a moment ago for that, but this time, no warning.
I'll tell you what, Sean Fitzgerald is not throwing punches, and so for him to win these last couple of rounds would be really inappropriate. And I think Peter Manfredo may be taking this fight with these last several rounds. I don't know if the judges are seeing it that way, but I would think so.
It's going to be interesting to see the judges' cards here.
See, now he's stopping him with the left hook. He should have done this about 6 rounds ago, Manfredo. He's stopping Sean with the left hook and then getting the right. Because part of it may be Sean is a little tired from running. Or moving, I mean. Well, no, I meant running.
No, running is what I meant.
You can't not give these last few rounds to Manfredo. You have to. Because, I mean, he has been doing more punching, all the chasing. Sean Fitzgerald has done precious little offensive.
Okay, break, step back clean.
So this one is just about in the books. But it's over. And your guess is as good as mine.
Well, certainly those last couple of rounds, in my opinion, had to go to Manfredo. And I believe I ended up giving him a 1-point edge in this bout. Early on, maybe Fitzgerald getting some rounds, but it is hard because truthfully, neither man was landing too much, but Fitzgerald just stopped throwing punches the last 2 or 3 rounds.
Let's take a look at the total numbers in this fight, Alan. Very close. I mean, it would lend itself to the same kind of decision we saw the last time.
And with Fitzgerald, so many of those punches came in the first 5 or 6 rounds. In the last couple, he just did almost nothing. Not a good percentage landed for either man, obviously.
We await the outcome here. And again, the tabulation continues. And as soon as we get it, you will have it.
Peter Manfredo feeling like he may get the nod here. He's got some of his fans here, just like Fitzgerald has a lot of his.
Yeah, boo, you get in here.
Sean Fitzgerald pretty subdued in there. And the difference is, well, there he kind of waves to the crowd. He's a 21-year-old that has high aspirations, and these are not the kind of performances that will fuel those aspirations.
And again, a long debate. Yes, they must be polling the delegation here.
So, you know, this is taking longer than the results of an election in Chicago.
It's true. Yeah, that's right. They have that the day before.
Yeah, well. Is that with the live or dead bodies? Which one?
That's right.
Oh, man. Just what I need.
With 115% of the vote.
I'll have the entire Cook County Democratic Organization having a hitman after me.
Actually, I remember not a headline, but a story on page 5 of the Chicago Tribune after Election Day, and it said, voter fraud light. I thought nowhere but in Chicago could you find that. All right, we've tap danced enough. Right now, let's take you up to the other guy in the tuxedo.
And ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Here is the official scoring. Referee Eddie Fitzgerald scores about 80-75. He has it for Fitzgerald. Ed Marchand scores it. Ed Marchand scores it 77-76. He has it for Manfredo. And Judge Nick Manzelli scores it 76-76. It's a three-way split. The bout is a draw.
Well, as we mentioned, we thought there might be some diverse scoring.
You know why? That's a draw. They didn't count DuPage County. That's what it was.
I think that's right. Well, it's a draw. I don't know what to say. How about I say this? We'll be back right after this. Rolando Bohol.
OTV knows that.
Back at the Centrum here in Worcester, Massachusetts. We come now to the main event. Junior Jones.